Hello, I'm Will Smith.
And I'm Jack Londrigan.
This past December, an outbreak of measles blew through Disneyland in California and has continued to spread since. Since 2014, 644 people in 27 states have been diagnosed with measles, and 25% of those individuals have been hospitalized. The prime suspect? Unvaccinated children and their parents in California. California has a permissive law regarding vaccinations. One must be vaccinated, but exceptions can be made if the proper signatures are present. These signatures are not difficult to come by. They can be given by those practicing alternative medicine, and anyone refusing to vaccinate due to religious views do not have to receive any signatures whatsoever. There are over 13,000 kindergarten students unvaccinated due to their parents' religious claims, and 79% of the measles cases are from people who are religious objectors or non-vaxxers. The non-vaxxers' primary argument is that elements of the vaccine, specifically the preservative thimerosal, cause autism in children. A similar conflict arose regarding the pertussis vaccine and its possible correlation to brain damage. However, no connection was found in either case. Another typical argument is that natural immunity is the best way to help. On the other side, those in favor of the vaccine and those opposing the non-vaxxers' claims say that we must consider the following question. Is it right to put the majority in jeopardy for the protection of the preferences of a minority? Some schools in Southern California have begun denying unvaccinated children to attend, which has led to increased tension and conflicts. Those in favor of the vaccine also note that 90% of those unvaccinated who are exposed to measles will contract the disease, counteracting the claim of natural immunity.
In literary news, Harper Lee is set to release a new book, Go Set a Watchman, 55 years after the publication of her Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, To Kill a Mockingbird. Go Set a Watchman is considered a sequel to Mockingbird that takes place when Scout Finch goes back to Alabama to visit her father, Atticus Finch, 20 years after the events of the original book. Lee expressed in an interview that To Set a Watchman was actually written prior to Mockingbird, but that her editors were so impressed with the flashbacks within it that they encouraged her to write more on the time period of Scout's youth, leading to what would become To Kill a Mockingbird. Since the publication of Mockingbird, Harper Lee has been highly reclusive, offering very few interviews and publishing only a few short essays in magazines in the 1960s.
Locally, a small nonprofit organization is bringing big smiles in the local community. Heartland Mini Hoofs, started 5 months ago by Andrea Ebert and her husband, offers their miniature horses for therapy use in hospitals, preschools, and nursing homes. Andrea Ebert formerly operated a writing center in Edinburgh, Illinois, and is also a licensed social worker and registered nurse. After accompanying the two mini horses on their therapy visits, she knew she wanted to take them in. Through Heartland Mini Hoofs, she found a way to combine her passions. These small creatures stand no taller than a dog. The two horses, Jasper and Bailey, are the perfect height for young children in wheelchairs. They often wear tiny shoes from Build-A-Bear to keep from tracking dirt and germs into the visiting areas. Based out of Taylorville, the organization has already made over 30 service trips. Some locations were over 70 miles away. For the Eberts, it's all worth it to see the smiles on people's faces. And now, we go off to sports with Mr. Talkett.
And this week, we have more basketball action from our boys and girls teams. We start with the girls' city tournament last week. SHG entered the tournament as the #2 seed and opened their city tournament against Southeast on Tuesday night with a 51-39 win. Katie Costa led all scorers in that game with 14 points, hitting 3 3-pointers. Wednesday, SHG had the early game again and played smothering defense against Lanphier for a 43-29 win. Chloe Albert notched a double-double in the game with 13 points and 10 rebounds. And this led to the big showdown, the #1 and #2 seeds, Springfield and SHG, battling in the finale on Thursday. So let's go to the highlights. We start off here, Danny Healy shooting the three, but she misses. However, Chloe Albert able to get the putback to put the Cyclones up early. And here another jumper this time from Chloe, and they get off to a 7-0 run to start the game. However, after this jump shot by Springfield to cut the lead, actually to take the lead, they're able to steal a pass just after the inbounds. After several missed shots, are able to get the bucket to go down and to take the lead. Kadiak here hits a three, and this makes it 10-10 early. However, then Springfield started to get away. 23-18 at half, and their pressure defense really stifling SHG. Although in this case, As we see here, SHG actually doing well with it. The second half was mostly all Senators, though, as the Cyclones struggled to hit shots and deal with the pressure defense of Springfield. The Senators outscored SHG 30-17 in the second half to claim and to win 53-35 and claim this year's city tournament. On the boys' side, the Cyclones picked up yet another win, this time in Jacksonville, keeping their run of improved play the last several weeks after a rocky start. Jacksonville keyed on lead scorer Sean McDonald early, but McDonald finished strong, scoring 13 points, all in the second half, including a three-pointer that tied the game at 44 and a couple of free throws that gave the Cyclones the lead. SHG won 49-46, moving their record to 8-11, picking up their third straight conference win. Meanwhile, in other sports news, several Cyclone players signed letters of intent on February 4th. Second-team All-American Quinn Osland and Jack Broker both are moving on to Big Ten schools, Osland with Minnesota and Broker with Illinois, while quarterback Gabe Green signed with the University of Southern Mississippi, Michael Ziegler with SIU Carbondale, John Morgan with Robert Morris Chicago, Brendan Stainer with St. Ambrose, and on softball, McKenna Butcher with Parkland. Congratulations to those players for their signings, and that's it for sports this week. Back to Will and Jack.
And just remember, students, always do your reading.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Today in History. What happened today in history, Mr. Lavin?
Well, since this is Black History Month, what I've selected for today are several events that happened in American history on February 6th. First, in 1820, 86 African Americans became the first former slaves, freed people, to settle in the new African Free State of Liberia. In 1956, Authren Lucy, the first African American to be admitted to the University of Alabama, was suspended from the university because the university felt like it couldn't guarantee her safety, security. And in 1967, heavyweight champion Muhammad Ali defeated Ernie Terrell in a 15-round boxing match.
Interesting.
And now for the history mystery of our last show. If you remember, the question was in 2001, or the statement was in 2001, President Bill Clinton awarded a posthumous Medal of Honor to a former American president for some military service he had performed. And the question was that deceased president Andrew Jackson, Ulysses S. Grant, Theodore Roosevelt, or John Kennedy?
Well, I said Kennedy.
And most people would, knowing me. The correct answer was Theodore Roosevelt, received posthumously the Medal of Honor for his service at the Battle of San Juan Hill in Cuba in 1898.
You can't put Kennedy in there and not expect us to guess it, Mr. Lavin.
I know. He was awarded for his heroism in World War II a Navy Cross, but never the Medal of Honor.
Well, did you guys get it right? Tune in next week for more history and more with Mr. Lavin.
Thank you. See you then.